Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. Tyler is not here, but Phil and I are. Phil is across the interwebs
Wow, those
from
are pretty
me.
good. I'm tied up.
Uh, and yeah, we're it's been a week, so we're recording. I guess not as late as we sometimes do, but it feels later because it's like afternoon
Yeah,
on
may
Sunday
as,
rather than early morning on Saturday.
may as well be
I went
dinner
back to
time.
school this week. Yeah, I went back to school this week, and I had a decent week, but man, did it knock the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So, so that's why you get to do all the news this week.
All right. Yeah, I actually,
Episode 249. We're about to hit 250 consecutive weeks next week. Maybe we should plan a party, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll make it up.
when it's 520 consecutive weeks, we'll have our
I
big 52,
mean,
52 times 10 party.
right, right. So yeah,
But
before we get into some Disney comics around the world, hit me with the comics news this week.
yeah, there's an update on the Charity and Sylvia situation from a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where
Yeah, it's
the
been a little bit. Did you
been a little
send
bit,
me
yeah.
that, or did you
I
just
did.
tell me about that?
I did
Okay.
send it to you at one point. So,
I
you
just
know,
wanted to make certain that I sent it along to Dan because Dan works for a college, so he's like on the
oh,
edge. Dan was the first one that tipped me to all of that.
okay.
Um,
Interesting. Interesting. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where the summary seems like a whole lot of people owe Tilly an apology. Because the claims of the historian Rachel Hope Cleaves saying that, oh, this book was clearly adapted from mine. Someone did sat down, the fine folks at the Witchcraft for Cyborgs blog uh, sat down and did read both books and did a cross-textual analysis and actually followed and read the entirety of the online bibliography where Tilly cited every single vignette she did, where the book is almost every page is a vignette in the lives of Charity and Sylvia, and pointed out that actually no, most of the stories do come from specific letters, and doing a breakdown of citations that at most maybe a third of the book is attributed to with information from
right.
Cleaves's book, but it's pointing out that like no, she did not start from adapting this history book. Uh, she read it first for context and then spent a year in the archives reading these letters and doing additional research. It really just pointing out that it was a thought that I had from the situation, but don't remember saying on air that yeah, the only way to really prove the claims one way or another is to sit down, read both books, and compare.
Right.
And by the time people did
Well,
that,
and I remember that like I was definitely in the mood where I didn't have the energy for a hot take either way on it.
oh yeah,
But 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 I feel like whether I said it on air to you or whether it happened in one of my other conversations, one of the things that I remember from reading the academics quotes is like,
hmm,
okay, you've admitted that you didn't read it before it came out, but I'm
yes,
not certain that you've read it yet.
yeah.
Have you read it?
Well, the well
Is
the
this
other
based on having read it, or is
the
this
other
based on you feeling like she didn't give you enough credit in an interview?
well, someone so the article, the blog goes into this, but they point out where they even listened to the videos that Tilly made promoting the book for the HMS historical. I'm blanking on the
Right.
names there, but and she said that Cleves even misunderstood what Tilly was saying. She was misattributing
Yeah.
quotes. It
Yeah.
was like she heard things that were not
Well,
being
well,
said.
but again, but again, like if you look at Cleve's statement, and I said that,
Hmm,
I know I said this some places at the time.
hmm.
Um, she doesn't say she heard Tilly. She said that Tilly gave an interview where she said
Yeah,
this, and my phone
yeah,
started blowing up with friends of mine saying, "Are you
yeah, yeah,
gonna
yeah.
stand for this?" And
Right,
it's
right,
like
right. It's
you
it's
need some
become
better friends, and
yeah,
or all of you should have taken a breath and
hmm
gone, okay,
Yeah,
is there something here? Now I was saying that mostly because like the idea that there was money to be made off of like
yeah,
essentially what she was suggesting as a remedy. I'm sitting there going, yeah, if you'd laid that out before publication, there is exactly one thing that would have happened. There would have been no publication.
yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of thing where even investigating the claims, it's the the blog does a really great breakdown summation investigating all the different pieces. Derf Beckderf also had an extensive thread on Blue Sky, both linking to that
Okay.
blog and adding comments of
And
his own in
yeah,
relation
what you
to
sent me
working on
was
Kent
at
State. Yeah.
button down.
Yes.
So there's a
Witchcraft
nice
for cyborgs.
well, at Button Ground, Witchcraft for Cyborgs, Charity and Sylvia, The Extraordinary Claims of Rachel Hopes Cleaves.
Yep.
Does look like it's a detailed.
It really was. So highly
Yeah.
recommend reading that if you're interested. And I will once again look forward to reading Charity and Sylvia from Tilly Walden
Yeah,
at some
I
point.
still need to read it. I have it. I
Yeah.
just haven't managed to sit down with it yet because, time.
Yeah.
I want time stopping powers.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I
Oh yeah.
want time stopping
Um,
powers.
in other
I
bizarre,
promise I won't be a sex criminal.
well,
Not even robbing banks with my time stopping powers.
yeah.
But I do want sex criminal like time stopping powers.
I mean, that's
I've
quite.
always thought that was kind of brilliant.
Oh yeah.
The fact that you could stop time for the rest of the world,
hmm
but not you. Oh my God, I would use that so much.
Be pretty convenient. Pretty convenient. That was a heck of a ping pong, right
Yeah.
there.
Well, I mean, I had to keep it with comics.
There you
So
go.
tell me who the hell Adam Fortier is and why his case
Uh,
is strange.
yeah, so he is a guy who, again, in an extensive and lengthy article, I'm only about halfway through this compelling tale over on the Comics Journal, as reported by Heidi McDonald and Zach Raberoff. Adam Fortier seems to be someone who was, a publisher or co-publisher, vice president, higher up admin person at various comics publishers over the past 20 years. Boom, amongst others, and has been dealing with another company, Multiversal Industries, I'm pretty sure it's called something like that. And in the attempt to recreate Golden Age uh, series through some proprietary scanning technology, which turns out to be kind of a crock and just the tip of the iceberg of shady business dealings, where it sounds like this guy, is definitely in court with these companies over these issues, but it sounds like he's been collecting a lot of money and not producing what he's supposed to in regards to what the money was for.
Hey, it's good work if you can get it.
If you can keep it going without the courts,
Well, and as
that's where it
long
crashes.
as none of the people screwed out of money have less money than you,
Right, something like that.
that's where I start getting really upset.
Yeah, I mean uh, it is an interesting case. You know, full of minor twists and turns. It's mostly business dealings at this point, but it's been a thrilling read over on the Comics Journal here. So
Yeah.
I ask you, what kind of week has it been?
What kind of week has it been? Well, I'm gonna stick with the funniest part.
Uh-huh.
And the funniest part is, were you aware that um that Cards Against Humanity had purchased a section of the Texas border with Mexico to prevent the wall from being built there.
I
This
did
is
not.
like
I was
10
not aware of that.
this is like 10 years ago they did
Hmm
this. Um and then um Elon Musk built his SpaceX city next to it.
Uh-huh.
Um and like defaced their land, maybe left some equipment on it, that sort of thing, and they
Uh-huh.
sued him.
Uh-huh.
They went to court against Elon Musk and forced an out of court settlement, which
All right.
which came through earlier this year. Um, that they had actually crowdsourced the buying a parcel of Texas land. That they had 150,000 people donate $15.
Wow.
But it wound up being right where he bought or near where he built his star base to like fuck with them because he was upset about it. They win in court. Um, but so this week they opened a campaign. The official Elon Musk is a sad little bitch with no friends monument design committee. So for
Okay.
$10, you can become part of the design committee, and that $10 will go towards building the Elon Musk is a sad little bitch with no friends monument to be placed on this parcel of land in Texas next to the
Wow.
space base.
Absolutely astounding.
A couple of things that I just have to I read them on our soon to be posted 22 Panels Presents Neurodivergent Theater Goes Mad, but we're going to put them up front here for people who don't want to deal with the complete neurodivergency of the Neurodivergent Theater Goes Mad. Um, I feel like those are going to be acquired tastes, but they're very therapeutic for Andrew and I. So like they're going to be in your feed, and if you don't like them, just skip them. Um, But who knows? 2 hours of a couple of quirky geeks talking about a random issue of Mad Magazine might be your jam. It was certainly our jam while recording, and I did a little bit of singing. Anyway, uh, the two questions that I love the bet most are: how did you settle on the slogan "Elon Musk is a sad little bitch with no friends"? And Cards Against Humanity responded, "Sad little is the buildup. It cuts him down to size. Bitch is the climax, a powerful swear word attacking his character and punctuating his ego with one syllable. With no friends is the denouement, a plainly descriptive fact made all the more devastating for its truth." Uh,
Well, there you go.
yeah, yeah. Crooked Media's Matt Berg asked the follow-up. There must have been other slogans that didn't make the cut. Can you share a few? Cards Against Humanity said, "We considered the word dumb, but decided it was debatable and therefore weak. He is surely smart in some ways. We briefly considered asshole and man-child, but agreed they were too obvious. Miserable lacked the punch of sad. Sociopath and narcissist felt too clinical. Motherfucker felt too broad. We take insults very seriously at Cards Against Humanity."
That they do.
Um, and then there was one other question that I was going to read here. Oh, yes. This is actually before they got into the slogan. Matt asked them, how did it feel to face Elon Musk in court? Cards Against Humanity responded, it felt terrifying. We were going up against one of the richest and most powerful men in the world. And at the time we filed the lawsuit, a crony of the most corrupt authoritarian regime in American history. The
Yeah.
outcome, honestly, surprised us, but it also restored a tiny bit of faith that our system is still mildly functioning. So, yeah, you can go to Cards Against Humanity to kick $10 towards Elon Musk is a sad little bitch with no friends. Um, and I frankly encourage you to do so. I haven't yet, but I probably will. Um,
Should have gone down in our crowdfunding section.
I mean, depending on how long it's going on, we might still be able to. Um, they did a great thing earlier this year called Cards Against Humanity Explains the Joke,
Hmm.
where to get around tariffs, they They took all of the cards from the original set and explained the joke at the bottom, which made them informational materials exempt from tariffs, with
Interesting.
100% of the profits going to the American Library Association.
Okay.
That also had a great Q&A. My favorite being, what if DHS Secretary and dog murderer Christy Nome gets mad and decides that Cards Against Humanity Explains the Joke is not informational material? And their response was, she can fuck right off because we got a binding ruling from Trump's own government that confirms this product is informational and 100% exempt from his stupid tariffs.
Wow. It's
And here
fascinating.
it is.
I didn't realize that they'd
N3500472, the tariff classification of Cards Against Humanity explains the joke from China. Like I said, some weeks you just got to find the stuff that makes you laugh. Um, anyway, let's I think this is no, I guess next week we'll do one more round of stuff from this catalog, but we're nearing the end of our journey through the August catalog.
yeah,
So
it's getting
these
pretty thin.
yeah, these have additional or initial orders due on August 27th. My first pick this week was Jonah Hex and the Shadow of Death, #1 from Michael Walsh. And I just had one of my earbuds fall out. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. So at
If you
least
can still hear me, then I won't worry about the earbud until I'm done reading this one and you're reading. It's from Michael Walsh at DC Comics. Welcome to the end of the Wild West. Welcome to the quiet life of a broken down bounty hunter whose own story, one of bloodshed, pain, and guilt, ended long ago, or so he thought. In a small town called Ashcott, something evil has arrived, something more dangerous than a gunslinger, more sinister than an outlaw, and older than the town it seeks to infect, something from a world beyond the only one its victims have ever known, something darker, unfortunately, than that evil. Jonah Hex has taken notice. Not just for the otherworldly entities surrounding his home or the child with mysterious abilities they seek to capture, but also of the chance to finally redeem himself. This is a final order cutoff of September 14th in stores on October 7th.
all right, next up is Minor Threats, The Cleaner, #1 from Jerry Dugan, Mark Torres, Patton Oswalt, and Jordan Bloom over at Dark Horse. Twilight City is a hard place to live and an easier place to die, but some bodies never make the headlines. When the capes make a mess too big to bury, they call one number, the cleaner. By day, David O'Halloran is a struggling small business owner. By night, he's the spandex world's last call for cleanup, disposing of the undisposable with precision, secrecy, and a price. But when his path crosses with the deadly and dazzling Diamond Dahlia, everything changes. She has a secret past with the legendary vigilante, the Insomniac, and it's about to erupt onto the blood-slick streets. It's going to have a final order cutoff of October 5th in stores November 11th.
All right. Shaquille O'Neal presents Vengeance Unchained, The Legend of Black Caesar, #1 from Stephanie Williams and Ray Anthony Height at Studio Sky Tiger at Archie Comics. An African king of extraordinary physical presence must navigate the brutal transformation from royalty to slavery to piracy, searching for his kidnapped love while discovering that freedom in the Caribbean comes only to those willing to take it by force. In this powerful first issue, Black Caesar rules as king in West Africa. He is a giant of a man, nearly 7 feet tall, with a warrior's athlete's build. His exceptional size, charisma, and strategic brilliance have made him legendary among West African kingdoms. They've also made him the target of those who want to enslave him. When Captain Maynard, a slave ship captain, launches an assault during a festival and captures Musa's betrothed Princess Adana in the process, Musa, which is the original name of Black Caesar, I cut that out, not realizing that they had
Mm,
changed over to Musa later on.
I see.
Ah, Musa must not just fight for his love, but for the freedom and safety of everyone in his kingdom. Final order cutoff of September 14th in stores on October 7th.
Star Trek Zero Point Number One from Charlie Jane Anders and Isaac Sanchez Gonzalez over at IDW. A starship graveyard on the moon, a captain haunted by failure, a mission that could only change the future of the Federation or end it entirely. Rafi Mussaker takes command of the USS Endeavour and is immediately handed a classified directive from Starfleet. Follow the guidance of a powerful, untested AI built from mysterious technology recovered in the Epsilon corridor that can predict threats before they happen. But these missions aren't exploration, they're a gamble. As systems fail, pressure mounts, and missions spiral out of control. Rafi must decide who to trust, her crew or the machine guiding them, because some discoveries are better left buried, and some warnings come too late. Finally, we're cut off of September 7th in stores October 14th. Next up, some graphic novels, Tad.
All righty. First up is Bonjour Tristesse from Frederic Rebena and Francois Sagan at Blaze Comics in 1954. Cecile is a Parisian high school student, spends the summer of her 17th birthday in a villa with her father Raymond, a widower. A widower, and Elsa, his mistress. Cecile and her father have a close relationship, carefree and full of pleasure. The atmosphere changes when Raymond announces the arrival of a friend, Anne. Different from Elsa and Cecile, Anne is a strict and moralizing woman. She appreciates culture, good manners, and intelligence. As soon as she arrives, a subtle conflict begins between the three women. Elsa tries to maintain her relationship with Raymond, who is also attracted to Anne. As for Cecile, she fears losing the complicity that binds her to her father, as well as their freedoms. How can she avert the threat? In the burning heat of the summer, a cruel game is being prepared with tragic consequences. A remarkable adaptation of the classic bestseller by Francois Sagan that shocked a generation. This is a final order cutoff of September 21st and in stores on October 28th. And I get to go back to back here. Uh, Hotel and Farm from Ben Catchor at Knopf Doubleday. Late one night in the echoic city basement cafeteria, a group of story addicts linger after dinner to share 140 tales that examine the mysteries and idiosyncrasies of hotel culture and agriculture. The hotel stories explore the erotic quality of miniature shampoo containers, the pleasure of life between international time zones, the dangers of glossy magazines, and the hotel lobby is a breeding ground for petty crime. The agriculture stories detail little known practice of twice killing meat, the cultivation and sale of exotic produce, the whitewashing of trees, and the arrangement of fruit as an art form. Final order cutoff is September 7th in stores on October 6th.
Nirvana is Here from Mikhail Ross at Fantagraphics. Two German siblings, 12-year-old Tam and 14-year-old Dennis Wynn, encounter a young Vietnamese woman in trouble in a flea market parking lot. When Tam's spy, movie-obsessed schoolmate Alex discovers an abandoned backpack with a photo of a happy couple with Tam's address on the back, it will lead the two to discover a severed finger. Worried, Tam searches for the desperate woman, aided by her reluctant brother, and eventually finds Hoa Bin, who escaped from her kidnapper, who's still tracking her down. Drawn to Hoa Bin, Tam vows to save her, even if she has to break her stern but loving mom's rules, dodge the bad guys in wild chases through Berlin streets, and combine the forces of Marina, the Wind's tough chick neighbor, Juta, the elderly retired actress, a rollerblading girl gang, and many others to do so. In Rosa's empathetic, loose but controlled lines, cartoonishly expressive kids interact against and within the realistically depicted urban environments, given texture and grit by screen tones. Nirvana is Here is a contemporary crime thriller that has adventure, disappoint, coming of age, and love story elements set in Berlin's working class Lichtenberg district against a backdrop of very current social issues. Can have a final order cutoff of September 7th in stores October 21st. After that, there is Wandering from Jonathan Job Nakano over at Oni, cartoonist and animator. That I just named, with a difficult to pronounce name, of Scavenger's Reign, a series I absolutely adore, weaves a visionary story following the wandering paths of two men, each shaped by their respective environments, one in the arid wastelands above and one in the urban sprawl below the surface. Though they never meet, their lives mirror and resonate with each other, creating a haunting sense of synchronicity and misconnection. Set in a world where the surface has become a vast, arid desert dotted with strange geometric creatures and billabongs, Wandering imagines a society that has retreated underground. Beneath the scorching crust, life continues in sprawling subterranean complexes, theaters, malls, food courts, and highway interchanges, forming a claustrophobic echo of the world above. Themes of alienation, routine, freedom, and the trappings of modern life turn this textless, nonlinear, and atmospheric graphic novel into an unsettling contemplation of the trappings we choose to surround ourselves with. It's going to have a final order cutoff of September 28th, in stores October 20th.
All right, a couple of collections. Blackjack Deluxe Volume 1 from Osamu Tezuka at Kodansha, a rich medieval drama that mixes mystery, intrigue, suspense, and a dash of humor with a fascinating main character who keeps his caring nature a secret, preferring instead to be perceived as a heartless cad. Blackjack, the mysterious surgeon whose mercenary ways hide a benevolent heart. Drawing on his own experience as a student of medicine, the god of manga's late period masterwork remains his most popular adult series in Japan. This volume presents for the first time in English a curated selection of chapters that have not been published in color since the original appearance in magazine form, along with a treasure trove of related archival material. Final order cutoff of September 7th, in stores on November 3rd.
Thistlebone, the complete collection from T.C. Eglinton and Simon Davis over at Rebellion. Britain, 2019. The secluded rural village of Harrowvale holds a dark past. Years earlier, on a farm bordering the woods, a cult, led by the charismatic Jasper Hillman, sought to escape civilization and find purity in the old ways, namely worshiping an ancient deity called Thistlebone. The cult's pagan beliefs grew so deranged that they kidnapped a young girl, Avril Eason, with the intention of sacrificing her. But Avril escaped, and now, so many years later, she returns to Harrowvale to face the demons of her past. Haunting and visceral, the complete Thistlebone collects volumes 1 through 3 of acclaimed folk horror series, again by T.C. Ellington and Simon Davis. It's going to have a final order cutoff of August 31st, in stores October 7th.
All right, final order cutoffs for Monday, August 24th. You've got a week to get your comic shop and tell them you want these. American Flag Omnibus from Howard Chaykin at Image Comics, out on January 6th, 2027. Avengers #1 from Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto at Marvel, out on November 4th. Buffy the Vampire Slayer #1 from Kelly Thompson and Stephen Byrne, out from Dynamite on September 16th. I feel like that's like the third time it's been
Yeah,
on final order cutoff.
it feels like it, yeah.
It happens sometimes. This is the nature of our business and why we keep track of these things. Uh, Comic Club from Yi Yang at Takumi Graphics / Fanagraphics, out on October 14th. Dig and Drift from Delphine Panique, translated by Devora Fischler at New York Review, out on November 17th. Exquisite Corpses, the Foxmax Killer #1 from Che Grayson and Adam Gorham from Image Comics, out on September 16th. Imaginary Fiends from Tim Seeley and Stephen Molnar from Image Comics, out on September 30th. And if you live in the Chicago area, Tim Seeley will be at Modern Age Comics in the evening on September 30th to sign Imaginary Fiends and any of the many, many other books he has on the stage or on the shelves today and in the past. So come out and join us. I believe we've got them down for 6 to 8 p.m. Check out the 22 Panels Instagram page, and it is definitely advertised there. Um, Lycan #1, Mike Carey, Thomas Jane, David James Kelly, and Diego Yapur from Ablaze, out on September 30th. Afiuso #1 from Gwillem March, out from Image on September 16th. Peep Show, the complete Peep Show from Joe Matt, out from Fantagraphics on September 30th. And You Are on Native Land, a charity comic for Indigenous rights from various artists, out from Mad Cave on September 16th. Phil, you want to tell us about some crowdfunding? And we actually have some this week.
Yeah, I love Apocalyptic Zombie Misfits from Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard over at Clover Press on Kickstarter through September 4th. Joe Unknown #1 from Christopher Irving on Kickstarter through September 6th. Liam Sharp's Conan portfolio and calendar on Kickstarter through September 10th. Fairy Tale Wars #1, Ever Afterverse, mature sapphic crossover from Cat Calamia over at Lifeline Comics on Kickstarter through September 10th. And of course, the Tezuka God of Manga documentary from Jason Cohn is still launching soon on Kickstarter, as well as the Death of Comics Bookcase, Reign of the Comics Bookcases from Zach Quaintance. I will, check to see if there's any updates on when that one is coming that will let you know for next week. But
I will certainly change it when it changes.
of course,
But I need to reach out to Zach as well. So, Humble Bundles, we got some cool new ones, but let's start with the ones still running. You got a few more days if you're interested in the Clip Studio Creative Collection Paint, Draw, and Animate. $25 for 10 items, giving you the industry standard tool for making comics. Donors Choose, which is public education charity, is the one that is being benefited, and it has been extended until August 19th. We'll talk a little bit more today about the Disney Masters collections and originals from Fantagraphics. $25 for 48 items to benefit first book, also through August 19th. Dark Horse 40th anniversary bundle, $20 for 40 items to benefit the Hero Initiative, has been extended to August 21st. One shots and fast reads from Image, $25 for 59 items for the Book Industry Charitable Foundation through August 25th. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Return to New York City by IDW, $25 for 48 items to benefit Make-A-Wish has been extended to August 27th. And now the new ones, we have the Godzilla Kaiju Rampage, $18 for 30 items to benefit Make-A-Wish through September 1st. Humanoids Mega Bundle, Universes Unbound, which is $20 for 40 items representing 132 volumes. This is the second volume of the humanoids that we were talking about before. So super duper exciting. And I see us reading some more humanoids soon. This is to support Reading is Fundamental and goes through September 2nd. Finally, the EC Comics Artist Library from Fantagraphics, $25 for 40 items. Their artist library of EC Comics is just outstanding. And this is pretty much all of them for the Freedom to Read Foundation through September 4th. So yeah, some cool stuff. And I as I look at it, I don't know if we're going to wind up being the one shot fast reads from Image next week, and I think it'll have to do with whether or not it gets extended in a lot of ways, or whether we'll jump straight into the next Humanoids bundle. Particularly because I think that giving a week to the EC Comics would also be a good idea. So that'll be our offline chat with the three of us to figure out. Seriously, Eddie.
what's he doing?
I don't want to sit on your lap. I want to tear things down from the desk next to you. He refuses to sit on my lap. He
He's
won't just go
displeased.
away. He only wants
Is it also
to not.
lunchtime for Eddie? It's
He
lunchtime for my guys, and they are
only
circling me.
wants to knock things over.
Thankfully, my fluffy old men are not quite so mischievous. They do not damage things that are precious to us. They just annoy us to no end. I'll get dive bombed by cats before they knock anything off counters.
Now he's being a sweet little baby.
Hmm. Oh, that's what he wanted. He just
Well,
wanted,
no, because I tried that already,
yeah.
and he jumped out.
Dang. For
Anyway,
listeners, Tad was cradling Eddie like a little baby in his
yeah,
arms.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
adorable.
that's how he is right now.
Yeah.
So three amazing books this week. Starhenge Book Two, A Kiss for Atticus, number two from Liam Sharp. It's going to be hard for Starhenge not to be in the top spot for any of its four issues. I'm just saying that right now. I've read all four of them. They're all amazing, as are all of book one and the Or novella. I am all in on Starhenge for that matter. I got new Converse lately or recently, and Kelly draws things on my Converse
Hmm.
for me. And I decided that this time I was going simple, and rather than having lots of stuff, one side has the Pearl Jam Stickman tracing down a fly ball like they put up signs during the first Wrigley Wrigley Field has a have signs where it's a cubby bear chasing down a fly ball that say "Be alert for
Hmm.
foul balls." And so for the first Pearl Jam concert at Wrigley, they did the Stickman. Can I reach a? They did the Stickman tracking down the
Hmm.
fly ball. So one of the recent Converse that my wife made for me has the Stickman cracking down a fly ball, but then the other shoe
Hmm.
has the Starhenge or
Oh, very cool.
that's how all in I am. I have it on one of my shoes. Liam, if you're listening. Also, people should definitely get Liam's Conan calendar. It's amazing. Um, Portfolio too, if you're that person. But I decided that I'd just do the calendar because the portfolio, as cool as they are, I don't know that I'd like frame them all. So to just be like this portfolio of prints that I
Right.
have in a box somewhere.
Oh, yeah. It's like when you buy stuff like that, yeah, you definitely want to show it off.
Right. So yeah. Uh Yumi X number or Yumi double OX number one from Doug Wagner and Hoyt Silva is starting to answer the question of like what happens when you fall in love with a double O agent. Um
That's also a robot?
no, I don't think there are any robots.
Okay.
Uh but yeah, it's hilarious and violent and action and it's all things awesome Doug Wagner. And then Beast of Borkin, number two from Daniel Irizarry and Julio Anta, our wonderful uh, uh, Puerto Rican cryptid recent hurricane fable book that, yeah, second issue is as good as first. Big honorable mention, though, to Godzilla's Masterpiece Theater presents Roar of the Worlds from Kyle Baker. That was really good. So, yeah. Anyway, Phil, you want to take a walk?
Yeah, I am excited that there's a new album coming out from Mastodon at the end of this month. Also know Tyler would probably be excited for that. It's been a few years since their last one, so I'm excitedly looking forward to that. This week I did manage to go to the comic shop, and seeing that it's not in your list of honorable mentions, I'm realizing that just because I picked something in a week doesn't mean it came out that week. Because I see In Your Skin number
Yeah,
four missing from that. Yeah, it was
I
surely in your
think,
top when it came out.
right.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm catching up on that one a little bit behind. And then Die Loaded number eight is was fantastic. I am absolutely loving that series, and I love in the essay at the end, Kieran talks about how loosely the story is kind of expanding in interesting ways. That I'm also very excited to see. And then I just also want to shout out I finished up Citizen Sleeper 2 earlier this week and wished that there was more of it. But that just means I'll have to replay it at some point. And which is interesting for as story heavy of a game as it is. Usually when a game is
Oh,
really
game.
story heavy, I don't yeah, I don't always I don't always want to replay something if I remember the story super well, but this one is interesting enough to where I'm hoping that different choices will lead to different effects. I see you have read some One Piece this week, I
Yeah,
believe.
I finished volume 71. Um,
71 volumes. Holy cow.
yeah. I finished volume 71. We've got some action going on as like the new age of pirates are kind of making their new alliances and trying to wipe people out and yeah. Fun stuff. I
Oh yeah.
enjoyed it. So, how about you?
Nice.
You
I
got
I
any
finished
manga
up yeah, I
in
finished
this
up
One
volume
Piece
one.
race week 111?
Yeah. And I'm reading it, seeing if I can read everything but One Piece in the amount of time it takes you to read One Piece. Obviously a fool's task.
You haven't even started Astro Boy.
I know, that's a joke, but like it's just seeing how much other stuff I can read. No, I finished up volume one of Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, which was really, really, very cute and funny, and looking forward to more of that. Except,
Is it just smoking behind the cigarette or just smoking behind the supermarket?
well, that's what it's called is Smoking Behind the Supermarket
No,
with
but
You.
is that all they do? Is it like
I mean,
just
that's
as like the two shot of the people
well, it's
smoking
not
and
it's not just them
occasional
sitting
zoom
there.
in,
So they're
zoom
they're
out?
usually they're usually like the situation of someone like walking to the place as he's coming off of work, and sometimes interactions inside the supermarket. But the
Okay.
art is
Oh,
the art
gotcha.
is yeah, it's
Just
functional. It's
so
not
it's
it's
not
all slice of
truth in
life. Yeah,
advertising. It's not truth in advertising though.
it's not truth in advertising. I mean, there
Yeah,
is
because it
there is
says
smoking in every story. Yeah.
smoking behind the supermarket with you
Uh-huh.
means that not only should there be smoking,
There
there should
is.
be two people and they
Uh-huh. There
should be
are.
behind the supermarket.
They typically do when they smoke. Yeah, that's what they do.
But you said that they were sometimes inside the supermarket and
Yeah, that
sometimes
happens.
like
This isn't like a Cheers situation.
it didn't say it didn't
Even if it
say
is,
sometimes smoking behind the supermarket with you. It says smoking behind
but
the
that's
supermarket with
but
you.
that's what happened. Ted, your criticisms are unfounded. If you read the series, I'm sure you'll find exactly what you're looking for, which is what I'm describing.
Is all of the action there? That's all I have to ask.
Yeah.
That was my question, and you said no,
Well,
not all of the action is
because I
there.
mean,
And that
again, it's not like it. Even Cheers had a couple episodes outside the bar. But
and they
it's
were weird, but
yeah,
Cheers was called Cheers. It wasn't
sure.
called people talking in a bar.
But like the
If this
supermarket,
was
everything
if
happens in and
if
around the
this was
supermarket.
called smoking with my pal,
Uh-huh.
and people just thought of it as the manga where people stood behind the supermarket and smoked,
Uh-huh.
then it would still be truth with that in advertising.
But like for the premise of the plot, you need the setup of what happens inside the
Okay.
supermarket as well as what happens behind the supermarket. So
I
like,
mean, are they talking up like is it set up in such a way where like everything that happens inside the supermarket is like a flashback that's coming from their conversation? Because that could make it work. They could be
I
allowed to
mean,
do it if it was really conversation about that thing that happened in the
I
supermarket.
mean it's all within the situation, but no, it's not completely told as like a storytelling. It's not quite like that. I'm just saying, I don't
Okay.
think it's nearly as false of advertising as you're coming at it with,
Okay.
but it's pretty tightly supermarket based and heavily smoking.
That's fair.
Yeah. And with that, Disney comics, European Disney comics at that,
Yeah,
which,
what'd
yeah.
you think of your zombie coffee?
Yeah, so first of all,
I
my
mean,
first,
you chose probably
Mhm.
the coolest title, so I want you
It
to go
did, yeah.
first.
It was one where I was immediately struck by the art for it, where, when compared to last week's Diamond Jubilee of ducks and whatnot, um, this was very much the, crunchy underground cartoonist, but also still lush and lavish European sensibilities that I have not seen associated with Disney very much before. And my immediate reaction was, wow, I'd love to read uh one of this guy's original books. His name is Regis Lucel, I think. Um, but yeah, it's
Well, and here's the question. I'm
yeah,
gonna look it up. Keep talking.
sure,
Regis
sure.
Lucel, you
Uh-huh.
said?
Uh-huh.
You want to spell his last
Um,
name really quick?
L-O let me see. Loisel. Sel. Yep. Um,
Loisel.
yeah, because
Or
it's
Loisel.
Loisel, yeah. I
Yeah.
wasn't it was hard to read as a signature. I had to break it down there.
All right.
But it's so I mean it's the setting is at least a little bit familiar for older Disney cartoons where it's like, you know, kind of just these cartoon animals just kind of
So
living in a ramshackle town.
he I think is the writer.
I mean it said written and illustrated. Or let me
Oh,
see here.
okay.
Um yeah. Story, art, and
Oh
color.
no, no, he no, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's telling me a writer for his other book.
I
I
see.
was looking up what he has a book that translates to The Quest for the Time Bird, which is
That
a
sounds
fantasy
interesting.
comic and
Sounds
apparently
awesome.
his most famous.
I'd read that.
Um, yeah,
Heck yeah.
I can't I can't tell if it's been published in English though.
Right? Um, but yeah, it this one was, so it felt of the era for classic Disney cartoons, kind of like, hey, they're all living in like kind of a rundown town together. But at the same time, it felt very like in contrast to what I think of when I think of Disney comic, or like not Disney comics, but like Disney as an entity in the characters, is that they feel very like shiny and plastic, and this was much more rough and tumble, um, kind of dirty, a little bit grimy, and like I guess I was just really struck by. I mean, first of all, this was probably the most personality I've seen Mickey Mouse have since Kingdom Hearts, you know?
Right.
Um, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where if this was a story, I don't know. It's just the Disney of it all feels like it's getting in the way of that. Like portraying Mickey Mouse as this like rundown everyman who is defending his town from an evil corporation that's trying to buy up their land to make a golf course, which is a very compelling story. But having Mickey as you know, the savior, it's like that feels in complete contrast to Disney as I think of it as an entity now, you know?
And I think that like what this tells us is that it looks like Quest for the Time Bird may be available through Titan Comics right now.
Oh wow. All right.
Um, but what that tells me though is
Mhm.
that I mean, just based on what you said there, is that um trying to get my thoughts unraveled again. I had three different threads going into my head, and only one of them
Yeah.
matters right now.
Yeah.
Um, that feels like more of an American response,
Yeah.
and probably why so much great Disney comics come from overseas, why they've continued overseas, um, because like how much experience do you actually have with Mickey Mouse? Or are you just
Uh,
thinking Disney in a grand sense and like the silent mouse that you can see at the park or
I mean, I'm thinking of the cartoons from uh the 50s, the cartoon like
okay.
I'm thinking of, when I think of Mickey. or of those Disney cartoons, I kind of do think of them through history, and that's one of the things that's odd to me is how, sure, he started out, like Steamboat Willie, and then into, one of my favorite ones, and as I was a kid, was they were like building this ship, and then set the ship out to sail, and then it falls apart immediately out
Right.
of the dock. And so this had that kind of energy and feel, both time, era, technology, and I appreciate that about it, but when you compare that to, like you said, the silent mouse who's a mascot, Mickey as a mascot and like a dude in his suit that is running around Disneyland, that is a very different Mickey Mouse. And I also think
Right.
of like Fantasia, um, and again, Kingdom Hearts, like
But
it's,
there's really only one Mickey.
well, I disagree with that. I think that
Well, I mean,
there's a
in
multitude of
Fantasia,
Mickeys. Sure.
in
Oh, yeah,
Fantasia, yeah,
there's only one Mickey.
that's all I.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I
there's
just
only
meant
the one
him
Mickey, well,
as a
there
wizard,
is there,
you know.
and I think that is part of what. Um, oh wow, when a digital copy is $40, you know that it hasn't been in print for a while.
Yeah, holy cow.
Quest for the Kindle
Time
copy of
Bird.
Quest for the Time Bird is $40, but it is available.
That is steep.
Well, it is 234 pages, so like when
Yeah.
you put it
I,
that way, it's not
for a
as
physical
bad.
for a physical book, that is a pretty good price. But for
Yeah,
a
but
PDF,
I kind of reject the idea that um well, and you can buy a copy used or collectible from 158.78.
wow. Yeah. See, so and that's when it's in the secondary market at this point. Yikes. Yeah.
Right. Um but also like I mean just quickly um I think that digital copies there's reason to have them be a little bit cheaper because you're
Sure.
not paying for printing and whatnot. But as
Right.
soon as you make them cheap, that becomes an excuse not to pay the artists.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It, you know, I guess it's also tough for me because I think of PDFs of books as like a companion to it, and the book
I
is
understand.
the primary object
I,
that I want,
I
you know.
understand, and that's ideal. But like when you get into whether or not you've got space on your shelves, and
Hmm.
like shouldn't again, I think there should be way more sales. I mean, and I do. I buy a lot of my
Hmm.
digital comics on sale rather than at full price. That's why
Hmm.
we talk about humble bundles all the time.
Hmm.
Um, but like to just always have it at regular or to always have it be dirt cheap means that way more copies have to be sold before
Hmm.
the artist gets
Yeah, and well, I mean, and
paid
part of that
well.
is probably still also based on the printing costs that are
Right.
associated with it. So
Right.
it's tough. It is tough, and it's also tough for me, knowing that. Anyway, yeah, no, it's a separate issue entirely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, that's an
So
elusive time bird, all right.
yeah, so you looked at one of the more modern ones. I looked
Yes.
at Mickey Mouse. I think the Ice Sword Saga was roughly contemporary too. Let me see if I can get a date.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, I did look up. This one was translated in English around 2022, but originally produced in 2016.
Right. So
Yeah.
so 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 newish stuff
Yeah.
on every level.
Uh-huh.
Um, whereas the Sword of Ice from Massima Devita, of course, it's not giving me the date anywhere. that's when Fantagraphics put it out. I want to know when Fantagraphics put it out. I want to know
Mhm. But
when.
yeah, I guess I kind of like go back and forth on whether it's, cool and interesting to see uh, these characters taken and portrayed in a way that we don't usually see, or if it's like one of the things I was thinking about was you remember gigs and like punk
Yeah.
rock
Hmm.
and the point it makes with talking about the history of punk rock and having Sadie being an old punk person who ultimately, was part of a tech company is like how I think of punk rock in general today as a genre. When it started, it was, a counterculture railing against normativity and consumerism. And now it's like a different flavor of product, like it's a style that you can apply over something to make it a punk version, or like pop punk kind of subsumed that and turned the general sound into something that's still acceptable by the mainstream. So it's like, you know, are these European Disney comics a subversion of our expectations, or are they merely um an absorbing expansion of, oh, of course, there can be any and every flavor of Mickey Mouse as long as you buy it and read it, and, like
Well, and
that
and I get
becomes,
that. I guess where I go is like um the kind of like Marvel and DC.
yeah.
Like it provides an outlet for people to get paid as they hone their craft, as they
Hmm.
make their names. And perhaps even more than Marvel and DC, like it seems that Disney gives them, like, as long as they are all ages, or at least not
Yeah,
inappropriate for kids.
it was
Uh,
right up against that pretty much. Not quite. Well, I guess when I say right up
which
against that,
which
I mean like,
which is not a bad thing, because like as a creator, being able to like Matt Madden talks about constraints a lot.
hmm
I love talking to Matt Madden because he talks about putting constraints on himself to force him to really um think about how he tells a story, and
hmm
the need to make something kid friendly, and more so even that the need to try to make something all ages, where
hmm
it's both kid friendly but also um not uninteresting to an adult, is a very real constraint.
hmm
So um to need to tell your stories using not just um existing characters, but having some specific story constraints, but um not actually a ton of them, if that makes sense, because as you said, Mickey doesn't have a real character, so you can kind of
yeah.
mold him into
hmm
um because with a lot of these, they're not strictly um locked in. Okay, it looks like my Secret of the Ice Sword came out in 82, which is later than I would have expected.
Okay.
Um, though not terribly so, because as I was about to say, it actually has some Elf Quest feel to it,
Okay.
and kind of a stripped down Prince Valiant feel to it. Um, but like I read Ice Sword, I read some more of, like, one of the books that was available was A Century of Disney Comics, and I read some more of that, like going through and seeing how they have evolved through time.
hmm
Um, I mean, really, to me, one of the things that's amazing is that, like, Disney Comics as a publisher still exists, particularly because Disney Comics as a publisher, like, um, is a global thing. Like there's
Hmm.
Disney Comics printed in, originals in Italy, originals, and has been since the 50s, right?
Hmm.
Um, for that matter, like one of the comments in the 100 years of Disney was that like one of the things that also was different about the Barks ones is like he was essentially the only person that was getting regularly picked up in most nations,
Yeah.
so in some ways it's almost like heavy metal or some other anthology magazine, because like most of the stories are shorter and or were released in shorter segments, right? Um, where like the only rule is okay, you have to center a couple of Disney characters, but they'll clearly let you create some of your own.
Hmm.
Um, Barks
Yeah,
created a lot.
there's a weird horse-faced guy in this one that was hanging out with Mickey
Hey,
I'd never seen before.
right. Um, so like and again, like from what I understand anyway, like sales, sales of Disney Comics in the United States during the beginning of the Comics Code were huge because they were the
Hmm.
only things that sold well other than really EC right before the Comics Code.
Hmm.
And since Comics Code killed all of EC except for Mad Magazine, um, that opened this wide open window for Barks and similarly good. And I'm certain that there's been plenty of bad Disney comics through the years, just like most anthologies have hit and miss.
Hmm.
I get the like corporatization side. I guess though, like for me, if you're actually managing to put out a good product, like when I actually wind up reading Disney comics, I don't feel like I'm reading. I don't feel like think of some of the bad Disney theatrical movies, or worse still, the straight to
Hmm.
video sequels.
Hmm.
Like
Okay,
if it
best one of those was Aladdin and the Prince of Thieves. That was direct to video. That one was still good. Robin Williams was in that.
okay, I'm not saying that there were no decent, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. I've
Um,
still never seen Tarzan 2.
it would be so easy for their and like because we're reading curated selections, I don't know how
Hmm.
much of Disney comics don't fit into this, but it
Hmm.
would be so easy with a brand of that level to only put out low level stuff. It would be
That's true.
so easy to
That's true.
say, no, I don't want you. Like one of the ones that I like, if I'd had a little bit more time, that one of the volumes that we could have looked at was
Hmm.
had two stories in it. It had Mickey in um War and Peace and Mickey in Les Miserables.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, so like and from what I've heard anyway,
Hmm.
like when Disney does classic literature in their comics, they don't tend to sugarcoat it the way they sometimes do in the movies.
Okay.
We're not having Hunchback of Notre Dame's here,
Right. Right.
is what I've heard.
Okay.
Like I need to actually sit down and read one. Um, but like anything that like might get a 5-year-old into classic literature so that like 20 years later when they run across Don Quixote, rather than going, "Oh my God, that looks huge and boring," they go, "Oh, wait a minute. Is this what that comic that I loved when I was a kid is
That's
based on?"
I think that's an optimistic look of it when I think the more common reality is that people just get hooked on the Disneyfication of classic literature and just want more of
Yeah,
that
but this
instead of.
is this is also where I sit back and go, the people who got hooked on the Disneyfication
Mhm.
probably didn't have another hook to the classic literature either. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about like large numbers. I'll take one.
Okay, sure. Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah.
one,
And I guess
particularly
for.
because again, like there isn't a huge upside to Disney to doing it, except that overall comics are a small portion of what they pay for.
Mhm.
And far enough back, they built a reputation for themselves in multiple countries for
Mhm.
making good comics
Yeah. Yeah.
that there's reason for them to continue doing so.
Yeah. I guess it's that for me I come back to like I would use this collection as a signpost to find
Yeah.
more Time
Well,
Bird-esque
I mean, we did. We
stories. Yeah.
went and discovered that there's
Yeah.
a book
The Quest
called
for the
The
Time
Search
Bird.
for the Quest for the Time Bird
Yeah.
that like at some point we'll have to check out from a library or drop
Yeah.
the $40 on, or
You know,
maybe Titan will do a humble bundle of their old stuff.
I'll have it I'll see if I can reach out to Interlibrary Alone once I've gotten through the rest
Right.
of Pun Pun,
You know,
yeah.
like that's fair too, but like Barks never did a
Mhm.
lot of other work. He did almost all of his work in Disney because he enjoyed it and he got to tell really good stories and he got paid decent, you know. Late in his life, he made a series of Disney, like right after it became known who Carl Barks was. He made
Mhm.
a series of like actual duck paintings to like essentially raise his retirement money, but like he was able to do that.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, it's hard to shill for one of the biggest corporations in the world. I get that. I don't love that
Mhm.
either. But I do love solid kids stuff. And I do know how much, for good or bad, even when you're trying not to have them be like that,
Mhm.
it is often easier to sell a kid on something new that involves something that they're already
Yeah.
tied to
Yeah.
than like that it is to like lots of kids would like
That's a good point. I think it's a good point that
if you read them like a great book
yeah,
and then want to read them another great book, but with nothing that ties it together, they would rather read that great book over again. And
sure.
I'm
And
all for rereading, but
mhm.
like, but again, when you can say, oh, you like Scrooge, let's do this story with Scrooge. Let's do
Mhm.
this other type of story with Scrooge. You
It
like Mickey Mouse. Here's Mickey Mouse in classic literature.
yeah,
You know, it gives you so much more flexibility in terms of introducing things to have an
right.
anchor.
One of
Um,
those everybody starts somewhere and the
and
odds of someone reading something more interesting, thought-provoking after these Disney books is higher than certainly many other
right.
books out there.
And whether that was whether that was like part of the Disney nefarious plan to begin with, or
Hmm.
whether it's a happy accident, doesn't really matter. It makes Disney to a certain extent in general, and certainly Disney comics, like
Hmm.
valuable learning tools in both a social emotional way,
Hmm.
because like that's one of the things that I've definitely noticed is at least the ones that I have experienced have a greater emotional depth than I expect in kids comics.
Hmm.
They ask more hard questions than I expect in kids comics.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the capitalism questions or
Hmm.
whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Those are definitely more present in this than most kids media in America, that's for sure.
Right. So like I mean, if I am picking between two things to get people into, I'm more likely to push Tintin than
Yeah, I could see
duck
that.
books, even as much as I love duck books. Just like I'm more likely to push duck books than I am anything else at Disney because I
Hmm.
really, really feel like the duck books completely transcend. Like it's kind of a shame that Carl Barks doesn't have an equally big collection of stories that were all just his, but
Yeah,
he doesn't. He doesn't. That's not
yeah,
a like it's uh, uh when you don't, you don't, right?
yeah. That's true.
um so yeah, but that's been my take here is I definitely need to expand my Disney comic reading beyond duck books. It still will probably only make up 5 to 10% of my overall comic reading. Um, but I'm glad that we explored it. I'm glad that I picked up the Humble Bundle. I have that much more to to explore with my grandkids, and those are wonderful things from my perspective.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And again, just I mean, easier to I mean, I need to go read more of the Sonic comics because I've heard great things about the Sonic comics. I
Oh yeah.
know the My Little, I mean, but I also have to wonder how much of that is actually following off of the Disney model. Hey, yes, we have this property and that will sell X number of them, but if we really want to make it valuable, we need to not just have this property. We need to do something with this property.
Yeah, it's entirely
Um,
possible.
and for good or bad, comics being a medium where it's a little bit cheaper to do things than almost any other medium, just because the people who love making comics and are often broke.
Yeah. Oh,
Dangle a living wage and some health insurance in front of them. Any closing thoughts on Disney comics around the world?
no, I think that's pretty much what I got.
All righty. Books that I hope will be spectacular next week. Well, I know that the opening book from Sean Murphy's new series, Last Driver, is fantastic. Um, I highly suspect and am looking forward to reading Powers 25, number 12, which will wrap up this story arc. I don't know if they're going to immediately go into a 13, whether they're going to continue it as Powers 25, what exactly the plan is. It seems like they don't intend to abandon Powers for as long as they did between this and the last one ever again. They really enjoy doing them. But I also know that they both have all sorts of stuff that they enjoy doing. So it'll be interesting to see. Medicine Oming. Skate Ali, number 3. Kelly Sue DeConnick, Sam Humphries, and Natasha Bustos. This has been such a fun, like punk skate comic. In a slightly dystopian future where skating is not allowed, along with a lot of other things. Um, and then the conclusion of Lucky Devils from Charles Sewell and Ryan Brown at Image are the ones that I am most looking forward to. I
Hmm.
expected this.
Yep.
Phil, your all new giant size trade waiter pick. Let's
That's
hear
going
it.
to be Assorted Crisis Events Volume 2 from Dennis Camp, Eric Sawatsky, Jordy Belair, Hassan Natsman El How over at Image Comics. If you haven't been reading it in single issues for whatever reason, it is coming out collected for you.
Yep,
That's the
yep.
one. Yep. Hard not to
Sounds
hard
good.
not to plug it when it's there.
All right. For 22 panels, this has been episode 249 and overall episode, I think we're going to be Give me a second. I'm tracking this a little bit better now. So
937, 48.
no, I don't think it's quite that high yet. I
Okay.
know it feels like it should be.
I mean, if you're going to be on
Remember,
track for the baseball
I actually
roundtable episode 1000.
I actually wound up slowing down. Remember?
Yep, yep, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, half the reason the neurodiversity theater wound up coming into existence is I hadn't recorded another episode this week, and like I
All
needed
right.
to.
There you go. Just got to
Um,
get the wiggles out, as I like to
right.
say.
So neurodiversity theater will be 913. This is 914
Okay.
on two panels. Nate 6 7, and we will see you after the next page.